So, good afternoon, everyone.
This call is now being recorded.
So, let us start today's session. Before going to today's session, since there is a break for 1 week, let us review the previous class topics, like how did we derive the forward voltage conversion ratio, how did we arrive at the configuration of the converter, and all the basic concepts. We will review once again. Then we'll get into other non-idealities like switch non-idealities, the inductor non-idealities, and the source non-idealities. So, the basic primitive converters had switches, inductors, transformers, and capacitors, and the interconnection of these switches, energy storage elements, as per the principles of circuit theory for power conversion in efficient manner, was discussed in yesterday's class. And the switch that we used was a single pole double throw switch. And a primitive converter had at least one switch and one energy storage element connected together. This is the basic configuration of these primitive converters. And coming to the interconnection of these switches, the source and the load, some circuit theory principles have to be followed. So, two main circuit theory principles were voltage sources should not be shorted and the current source should not be opened. And the second principle that has to be followed is the law of conservation of energy. The inductor currents should not be interrupted and the capacitor voltage should not be shorted. So these were the two principles that we followed while interconnecting the sources via the switches, energy storage elements, and the load. So coming back, again, these are the general principles we followed. So looking into this diagram, one can understand the inductor has to be connected in series with the pole because inductor currents should not be interrupted. If you connect an inductor between P and T1, when the switch is moving from T1 to T2, the inductor currents gets interrupted. So it should be always connected to the pole. And also the capacitor voltage should not be interrupted. There should not short the capacitor voltages. So the capacitor was connected in series between T1 and T2. And this combination of the switch and the storage element is called as the acceptable switch storage cell configuration. So we are using the inductor and the single pole double throw switch as the storage cell and constructed a primitive voltage to current converter. So in this primitive voltage to current converter, the average quantities are Vg and Ig, input average quantities, and the output average quantities are V0 and I0. So inductor was connected in series with the pole in the load side, and in the source side, the switches T1 and T2 were connected. And the strategy of operation were for some duration turn on the switch and for some duration turn off the switch, and the duration in which the pole P is connected to T1 is called as T on, and the duration for which the pole P is connected to T2 is called as T off, and the combined period of T on and T off is called as the switching period of the converter, and it is denoted by the letter TS. So this is the strategy of operation we followed, and this is the dual to the inductor configuration. The capacitor should be always connected between T1 and T2. Considering the circuit theory principle, the capacitor voltage should not be shorted. Again, the input quantities here were Vg and Ig, since we are using a current source here, and the output average quantities are V0 and I0. These are all the basic configurations we discussed: a primitive voltage to current converter and current to voltage converter. And we are trying to derive the ideal performance measures for any converter. In our case, it is a voltage to current converter. By considering these assumptions, we consider the switch as an ideal switch with zero voltage drop during the on state and zero current during the off state. We consider the inductor as an ideal inductor with no resistance. and the operation of switch from on time to off time, that is the switching time period from on to off time and off to on time, is 0, and the power loss and the conduction loss during the switching is 0. These are the assumptions that we made. And the next is an important concept which you are going to carry forward for all the converter analysis that we are going to do in the forthcoming classes, which is the volt second balance in an inductor. We consider the volt second balance in the inductor, and we derive the forward voltage conversion ratio. So the forward voltage conversion ratio is evaluated based on the principle that the average voltage across an inductor in one cycle is 0. What I've written here, the average voltage across the inductor L over one cycle is 0. So this is the inductor voltage waveform. The average voltage across the inductor in one cycle was equal to 0. This statement is same as saying that there is no DC voltage drop across the inductor. All of us know that the impedance of an inductor for DC is 0. So whatever current is flowing across the inductor, if it is a DC current, the voltage drop across the inductor will be 0. The average voltage on one end of the inductor will be same as the average voltage across the other end of the inductor. On an average, the inductor does not support any voltage. All these are equivalent statements, as the average voltage across the inductor in one cycle is 0. So these are the three statements you have to keep in mind, because this is the core concept which you are going to use in analyzing all the various configurations of the inductor in the forthcoming classes. So volt second balance in an inductor means the average voltage drop across the inductor in one cycle will be equal to 0. Just register the statement in your mind so that we will have a better understanding of the analysis of various topologies in the forthcoming classes. So what we see here is that the switch is operating with a duty ratio of switching period from 0 to Ts, in that from 0 to T on, during the on state of the switch is connected from P to T1 on an account of the voltage Vp is the pole voltage, and it is same as the source voltage Vg. So during the on time, the switch T1 is connected to P, and the pole voltage is same as the source voltage. Vp is equal to Vg. So if you, yes, கேக்குதாப்பா? ஏதா ப்ராப்ளமா? ஆடியோ கேக்குதா?
Yes sir, கேக்குது sir.
கேக்குதா இல்லையா?
கேக்குது sir.
நாட் ஆடிபிள் போட்டிருக்கீங்க. ஓகேவா இல்ல வேற ஏதாவது பிரச்சனையா?
இல்ல சார், ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இருந்து இப்போ கப்பற.
ஓகே, ஒரே நிமிஷம் திருப்பி ஆரம்பிச்சிடலாம். So we were analyzing the forward voltage conversion ratio. We were analyzing the forward voltage conversion ratio using this principle: average voltage across one cycle is 0. So I have taken one cycle of the inductor voltage waveform. So the average voltage across one cycle was equal to 0. That is called as a volt second balance of the inductor. Using this average voltage across one cycle equal to 0, we have derived the forward voltage conversion ratio, which is nothing but V0 by Vg. V0 by Vg is the forward voltage conversion ratio, and we derive it to be T0 by Ts, which was equal to the duty cycle D. So how did we arrive at this? During the on time, the voltage across the inductor was Vg minus V0. During the on time, the voltage across the inductor was Vg minus V0. And during the on time, the voltage across the inductor was 0 minus V0. That is why I have written a minus V0 here. That's why I have written a minus V0 here. So Vg minus V0 is the voltage across the inductor during the on time. 0 minus V0, which is minus V0, is the voltage across the inductor during the off time. The off time is written as Ts minus T on. Ts is switching period. If you subtract the on time, it is Ts minus T on, which is equal to 0. So when you simplify this, the volt second balance equation, you will get V0 by Vg equal to T on by Ts, which is equal to the duty cycle of the inverter. Otherwise, I can say the output voltage of the converter, of the DC-DC primitive voltage to converter, is equal to the duty cycle multiplied by the input voltage Vg. V0 is equal to D into Vg. So this was the forward voltage conversion ratio. Next, we moved on to the reverse current conversion ratio. The reverse current conversion ratio is the ratio of the average value of Ig divided by the output current I0. So reverse current conversion ratio was Ig by I0, Ig by I0, and that was also found to be equal to D. That was also found to be equal to D. So how did we arrive at this average reverse current transfer ratio? This can be obtained by simply averaging the current waveform Ig of t. What I have shown here for one cycle, the average current of Ig of t is given by the red line Ig. This Ig of t, when the switch is on, which means P is connected to T1, it is the same as I0. This Ig of t is same as I0. The current flowing through the switch, and when the switch is off, the inductor current is freewheeling through PT2, where Ig of t equal to 0. So during the on time, Ig of t was equal to I0, and during the off time, Ig of t was equal to 0. So if we average this section, we get I0 into T0, T on is same as Ig into Ts. So using this principle, we arrived at the reverse current transfer ratio. We arrived at the reverse current transfer ratio. It is Ig by I0 equal to T on by Ts, which is equal to the duty ratio. So we have derived the forward voltage conversion ratio and found out it was equal to D, and we have derived the reverse current transfer ratio, and it was also found out to be D. In the last class, we had a small confusion with the current gain and the current transfer ratio. And the current transfer ratio, the reverse current transfer ratio is Ig by I0, whereas your current gain is I0 by Ig. So we had some difficulties in understanding what is Ig by I0 and I0 by Ig. The voltage gain is V0 by Vg. The current gain is I0 by Ig. It is not Ig by I0. So please do this correction. It is Ig by I0 by Ig. Current gain is I0 by Ig. The reverse current transfer ratio is Ig by I0. Ig is the input average current and I0 is the output current. I0 is the output current. So next we evaluated the efficiency of an ideal converter. V0 by Vg, we know it is D, and we calculated Ig by I0. Ig by I0 is also D. So if you invert this Ig by I0 to I0 by Ig, it will be 1 by D. So D into 1 by D, the efficiency of an ideal converter was 1. And from this we can understand the output current is a continuous constant and the output voltage is also a continuous constant. There was no ripple present in the output current and the output voltage in an ideal converter. So this is what we started off initially with the analysis of a primitive converter. We assumed all the quantities, all the elements in the primitive DC to DC converter are ideal. There's no resistance in the inductor. Switches are ideal. The sources are ideal. The loads are ideal. Everything is ideal. Under ideal conditions, we derive the forward voltage conversion ratio and we derive the reverse current conversion ratio. Using that, we found out the efficiency of the converter and we found out the efficiency to be 1. So this is going to be the process for analyzing all the converter topologies. Using the volt-second balance, you calculate the forward voltage conversion ratio. Using the current averaging method, you calculate the reverse current conversion ratio. Using these two ratios, find out the efficiency of the converter. So this is going to be the process for analyzing all the converter topologies. So you have to be clear with what is volt-second balance in an inductor and how to do current averaging to find out the reverse current transfer ratio. So this is for an ideal converter. For an ideal converter, we found out these two quantities. But in practical conditions, there are various non-idealities. In practical conditions, there are various non-idealities. So one such non-ideality we discussed in the last class was non-ideality in the inductor current. We had assumed that the converter has a current which is perfectly constant and the output voltage which is also perfectly constant. But in a real converter, these ideal conditions of I naught being continuous constant and V naught being continuous and constant are not really true. They are different. And what we are going to do in the forthcoming classes for all the converter topologies is to find out these non-idealities. And arrive at an expression for this forward voltage conversion ratio and reverse current transfer ratio, and finally we are going to derive the efficiency of the converter. So let us go into the first non-ideality, which is the ripple current in the inductor. So this was discussed in the last class itself. The inductor voltage is Vg minus V naught during on period, and it is minus V naught during the off period. That is what we saw in the ideal converter also. During the on period, if you integrate the voltage across the inductor, you will get the current flowing through the inductor. So when you integrate, either you can integrate the voltage during the first subperiod, or you can integrate the voltage during the second subperiod. The subperiod as in the on time is the first subperiod, the off time is the second subperiod. So we integrated the second subperiod. The second subperiod meaning T on to Ts. We integrated the voltage across the inductor during the second subperiod between T on to Ts, and we found out the current ripple to be, what is the voltage across the inductor? V is equal to L into di by dt. Suppose if I want to find out the current I, it is 1 by L integral V dt. 1 by L integral V dt. So 1 by L is here. It is 1 by L is here. This V naught is the output voltage. V naught is the output voltage during the second subperiod. And what is the duration of the subperiod? It is Ts minus Tm. So that is the current ripple. Basically, you are just integrating the voltage in any one of the subperiods of the inductor and finding out what is the ripple in the current. Del I naught is equal to V naught by L into Ts minus Tm. So this Ts minus T on, if I take Ts outside, it will be 1 minus T on by Ts, and T on by Ts, you know, it is the duty cycle of the converter. So del I naught we found out to be V naught by L into 1 minus D into Ts. So we didn't stop with this finding out the ripple current del I naught. We normalized this ripple current with respect to I naught. We found out what is the ratio of del I naught with respect to I naught. So del I naught with respect to I naught we found out to be 1 minus D into Ts divided by the circuit time constant L by R. Ratio of del I naught by I naught is called as a normalized ripple current. We found out the normalized ripple current, and it was equal to 1 minus D into Ts divided by L by R, which is the circuit time constant. And what is the condition for ripple current to be low? The condition for ripple current to be low is the switching time period should be less than the circuit time constant L by R. So if you want your DC-DC converter efficiency to be close to unity, you want to avoid this ripple current. So how will you avoid this ripple current, or how will you make this ripple current to be a very low value? You should choose your switching time period as a very low value compared to your time constant, circuit time constant L and R. L is the inductor value and R is the load resistance. R is the load resistance. L is the inductor value and R is the load resistance. So this L by R ratio should be greater than this switching time period. So hope you understand. We stopped last class with this slide. Hope you understood all these concepts. Once again, I will tell you the flow of this lecture. First, we use the volt second balance and we derive the forward voltage conversion ratio. We use the current averaging method to find out the reverse current conversion ratio. and we used this forward voltage conversion ratio and reverse current conversion ratio, found out the efficiency of the converter, and we considered all the quantities are ideal quantities and found out the efficiency of the converter. Now, gradually, one by one, we are considering the non-idealities in the circuit. The first non-ideality we discussed was the ripple current in the converter. The output current was not continuous constant. The output voltage is also not continuous constant as we assumed. Since the output current is not continuous constant, there is some ripple in the output current, and we found out what is the value of the ripple that is present in the output current. And we normalized that ripple current as del I naught by I naught, which is equal to 1 minus the duty ratio multiplied by the switching time period Ts divided by the circuit time constant L by R. And we finally arrived at the condition for low ripple current. Condition for low ripple current is switching time period should be very much less than the circuit time constant. So this is the first non-ideality we discussed in the last class. So this class we will proceed with the second non-ideality, which is a non-ideality in the switches. When the switch is connected from P to T1, there will be some voltage drop across it. And the switch, when it is connected between P and T2, there will be voltage drop across it. Let us call this voltage drop across the switch PT1 as VT and the voltage drop across the switch PT2 as VD. So in an ideal converter, we assume the switch to be constant, switch to be ideal, and there were no switching losses or conduction losses in the switch. In the switch was connected to PT1. There was no conduction loss. That is what we assumed in an ideal converter. But in practical condition, there will be some voltage drop across the switch when the pole is connected to T1 and the pole is connected to T2. So when the pole is connected to T1, the loss, the conduction loss, we call it as VT. And when the pole is connected to T2, we call the conduction loss as VD. In a practical DC-DC converter, the switch PT1 will be replaced by a BJT or a MOSFET or an IGBT, and we call the voltage drop across the switch as VT. And the switch PT2 will be replaced by a diode. Usually the switch PT2 will be replaced by a diode, and the voltage drop across the diode, we call that as VD. We call the voltage drop across the diode as VD. Now, henceforth, we will use this combination. We will use a BJT for the switch PT1, and we will consider the voltage drop as VT, and we will use a diode for the switch PT2, and we will consider the voltage drop as VD. So switch T1P will be an active switch, and switch T2P will be a passive switch. So let us calculate the conduction drop, and using this we will evaluate the change in the forward voltage conversion ratio. So the voltage, how did we arrive at the forward voltage conversion ratio? Using the volt-second balance in an inductor. So we need to find out what is the voltage across the inductor. Voltage across the inductor is nothing but Vp minus VL. What is the voltage? Vp minus VL is the voltage across the inductor. So voltage across the inductor in one cycle will be equal to 0. That is called as the volt-second balance of the inductor. Using the volt-second balance of the inductor, we will evaluate the forward voltage conversion ratio, taking into account the non-ideality in the switches. Taking into account the non-ideality in the switches. Previously, if you could remember, the pole voltage Vp was equal to Vg in an ideal converter. That is without considering the switch conduction drops. Now, since there is a voltage drop across PT1, the pole voltage has become Vg minus Vt. Vg minus Vt. And what about this voltage at the other end of the inductor? Voltage across the other end of the inductor. Previously, it was 0 minus V0. It was equal to minus V0. Now it is minus Vd minus V0 since the switch PT2 has a conduction drop of Vd. So using this, we will write the volt-second balance of the inductor. So inductor on-state voltage is Vg minus Vt minus V0. That is the area of this shaded region. Vg minus Vt minus V0 is the inductor voltage during the on period, and during the off period, this shaded region, during the off period between T on and Ts, the voltage was minus Vd minus V0, minus Vd minus V0. So using this principle, volt second balance of an inductor, the average voltage across one cycle in an inductor is 0. We will evaluate the forward voltage conversion ratio. So it is Vg minus Vt minus V0 into T on minus Vd plus V0 into Ts minus T on equal to 0. This is the volt second balance in the inductor. So what is the voltage of the inductor during the period T on? It is Vg is the input voltage, Vt is the voltage drop across the switch T1, and V0 is the output voltage during T on. And what is the voltage during the off period? What is the voltage during the off period? Freewheeling happens during the off period, and a negative voltage is applied across the inductor. We have already seen this, minus V0. In addition to that minus V0, you have a diode voltage drop, the switch voltage drop PT2. So that is why it is minus Vd minus V0. So minus I have taken it as common. So minus of Vd plus V0 into Ts minus Ton is the off time of the converter, off time of the converter. So let us try to solve this volt second balance equation considering the switch non-ideality, and let us see how the forward voltage converter ratio has changed. So this is the volt second balance. Vg into T on minus Vt into T on minus V0 into T on. So this is during the on period, these three quantities. During on period, these three voltage drops occur across the inductor. Next is Vd into minus Vd into Ts minus V0 into Ts plus Vd into Ton plus V0 into Ton. These four quantities during the off period of the converter. So once we evaluate this, I will take Vg Ton as common. So it is Vg minus Vt into Ton. This V0 Ton plus V0 Ton and the minus V0 Ton both will get cancelled. In the remaining quantities are Vd into Ts and Vd into Ton. So I will take this Vd as common. If you take Vd as common, it will become Ts minus Ton. And the right hand side, I will take this V0 into Ts, so that it will become plus V0 into Ts. So Vg minus Vt into Ton minus Vd into what is this Ts minus Ton? Ts minus Ton is nothing but the off period. Ts minus Ton is nothing but the off period. It will be equal to V0 into Ts. What is the forward voltage conversion ratio? Forward voltage conversion ratio is nothing but V0 by Vg. So we need to find out what is V0 by Vg. So I will take this Vg as common. So in the next step, we will take Vg as common. Meanwhile, we will bring this Ts from the right hand side to the left hand side. So your left hand side will become Vg minus Vt into Ton by Ts minus Vd into T off by Ts will be equal to V0. So the next step, I will take Vg common. What is this Ton by Ts? What is Ton by Ts? Anyone? In this equation, what is Ton by Ts?
Duty cycle.
Yeah, it is a duty cycle. So we will replace this Ton by Ts with the duty cycle. And what is this T off? T off is 1 minus D. T off is 1 minus the duty cycle. T off you can write it as Ts minus T on. T off you can write it as Ts minus T on. So this Ts minus T on can be written as, if you take Ts outside, so Ts into 1 minus T on by Ts will come. So I can write T off as 1 minus D. 1 minus D into V0. Our aim is to find out the voltage, forward voltage conversion ratio, which is the V0 minus V0 divided by Vg. So I will take Vg outside. I will take Vg outside. Once you take Vg outside, the expression for the output voltage will become D into Vg multiplied by 1 minus Vt by Vg minus 1 minus d into Vd by dVg. So just you carefully observe this equation. I am just taking this d into Vg as common. I am taking this d into Vg as common. So when you take d into Vg as common in the first expression, which is Vg minus Vt into d, it will become 1 minus Vt by Vg. And in the second expression, I am taking d into Vg as common, so it will go to the denominator. So dVg will go to the denominator, and 1 minus d into Vd will remain as it is. So what are we expecting? We are expecting the ratio V0 by Vg. V0 by Vg. So V0 by Vg, what is V0 by Vg? It is d into the correction factor. So correction factor is nothing but 1 minus Vt by Vg minus 1 minus d into Vd by dVg. So what will be the efficiency? What will be the output voltage of this converter with the switch non-ideality? Whether it will be less than 1 or it will be equal to 1. In an ideal converter, what was V0 by Vg? In an ideal converter, what was V0 by Vg? Ideal converter la V0 by Vg ennapa? It was equal to the duty cycle. V0 by Vg equal to T on by Ts equal to D, right? It was equal to the duty cycle. Yes, it is D. But when you take into account the switch non-ideality, the conduction drop in the switch 1 and switch 2, Vt and Vd, what happens here? The output voltage decreases by this correction factor. The output voltage decreases by this correction factor. What is this correction factor? It is 1 minus the ratio of the switch voltage drop to the input voltage Vg minus the second ratio is 1 minus d into Vd by d into Vg. So the output voltage drops by this correction factor. That is the conclusion we are going to make. Once you consider the switch non-ideality, the output voltage V0 decreases by this correction factor, and the correction factor value has two ratios. Vt by Vg is the first ratio. The second ratio is 1 minus d into Vd divided by dVg. That is the second ratio. And what will happen to the reverse current conversion ratio? Any idea? What will happen to the reverse current conversion ratio? What is the reverse current conversion ratio in an ideal converter without considering the switch non-ideality? Ideal converter la reverse current conversion ratio ennapa? What is the reverse current conversion ratio? It was equal to D. It was equal to D. Now, can you tell me what is the reverse current conversion ratio considering the switch non-ideality? Any idea? What is the procedure to find out the reverse current transfer ratio? You need to average the current averaging method. That is the principle. So during the on time, what will be the current? During the on time, what will be the current?
I0 into T on.
On time la ennapa current? It is I0 into T on. During the off time, what is the current? During the off time, what is the current? It is 0 minus Ig. 0 minus Ig, which is equal to minus Ig. So I0 into T on will be equal to Ig into Ts, which is the same. Ig into Ig by I0 equal to T on by Ts will be equal to D. So we have no change in the reverse current transfer ratio even with the switch non-ideality. Why? Because all these switch non-idealities are series non-idealities. Because the switch is connected in series with the inductor, and the when it is during the on time, the switch is connected in series with the inductor, and during the off time, the diode, the second switch, is also connected in series with the inductor, and this is called as a series non-ideality. So the series non-ideality doesn't affect the reverse current transfer ratio. So it remains the same as the duty cycle D as with the ideal DC to DC converter. So Ig by I naught was equal to T on by Ts. Ig by I naught was equal to T on by Ts, which is equal to D for an ideal converter. It remains the same with the switch non-ideality. So hope you understood the forward voltage conversion ratio with the switch non-ideality and the reverse current transfer ratio with the switch non-ideality. What is the next step? What is the next step? அடுத்த ஸ்டெப் என்னப்பா?
Calculating the efficiency.
Calculating the efficiency. So how will be the efficiency with the switch non-ideality? Reverse current transfer ratio Ig by I naught was equal to D. So I naught by Ig will be equal to 1 by D. What will be the V naught by Vg? Forward voltage transfer ratio. Forward voltage transfer ratio V naught by Vg equal to D into 1 minus Vt by Vg minus 1 minus D into Vd by dVg. This was the correction factor. So we have derived V naught as D into Vg multiplied by the correction factor. So from that we find out what is V naught by Vg. Efficiency is nothing but the output power divided by the input power. Output power is V naught into I naught. Input power is Vg into Ig. That is why we are making this small alteration. So V naught into I naught divided by Vg into Ig will be simply the correction factor. Simply the correction factor, and correction factor is always less than 1. Correction factor is always less than 1. So efficiency of the DC to DC converter with the switch non-ideality will be less than 1. Because of this conduction drop in the switches T1 and T2, your efficiency of the converter is less than 1 by this correction factor. And the correction factor is constituting two ratios, Vt by Vg, and the second ratio is 1 minus your duty cycle multiplied by the diode voltage drop divided by the duty cycle multiplied by the input voltage Vg. So we have seen two non-idealities as of now. The first non-ideality was the ripple in the output current due to the inductor. The second non-ideality is the non-ideality in the switches, drops in the switches T1 and T2, which was Vt and Vg. Coming to the third non-ideality, it is a non-ideality in the source and the inductor. Non-ideality in the source to the inductor. In an ideal converter, we assumed the source doesn't have any resistance linked to it, and the inductor was also a pure inductor, no resistance connected to the inductor. So in practical conditions, there will not be anything called as a pure inductor or a pure source. There will be some resistive component attached along with the source and the inductor. So we call this source resistance as Rs and the inductor resistance as RL. We call source resistance as RL and the inductor resistance as RL. Again, you see the source resistance is a series non-ideality and the inductor resistance is also a series non-ideality. So from this, what you can understand, only your forward voltage conversion ratio will change. Your reverse current transfer ratio will not change. The reverse current transfer ratio will not change. Now we are going to apply the same principle. For forward voltage conversion ratio, we will derive the volt second balance of the inductor. For reverse current transfer ratio, we will use the circuit averaging method or current averaging method, and finally we will end up deriving the efficiency taking into account the non-ideality in the source and non-ideality in the inductor. So let us start with the volt second balance in the inductor. Here we will consider the resistance series with the source is Rs and the inductor has a resistance of RL. The same voltage waveform. What will be the voltage across the inductor is nothing but the voltage across the right hand side, voltage in the right hand side minus the voltage in the left hand side is VL minus Vp. So Vp is the pole voltage. Now Vp is nothing but Vg, the input voltage, minus the current flowing through the on time is I0. Current flowing through the on time is I0, and we have two resistive loads connected during the resistances connected during the on time, which is Rs and RL. So Vg minus What is the voltage across this inductor? It is I am I naught into Rs plus RL. I naught into Rs plus RL. I naught into Rs plus RL. It is the voltage at the right hand side. Voltage at the left hand side is Vp. Voltage at the right hand side is minus I naught into Rs minus Rs plus RL. So when you subtract the Vp minus VL, you will get the voltage across the inductor during the on time. It is Vg minus I naught into Rs plus RL. And during the off time, the switch P is connected to T2. Switch P is connected to T2. So the voltage drop I naught into RL comes into the picture. I naught into RL comes into the picture, and again the output voltage is V naught. So during the on time, the voltage across the inductor is Vg minus I naught into Rs plus RL minus V naught. So this Vg, this voltage Vg minus I naught into Rs plus RL minus V naught. This is the area of the shaded region. This area of this shaded region and the area of this shaded region are equal. That is the principle behind this volt second balance. So Vg minus I naught into Rs plus RL minus V naught is the area of this region, multiplied by T on is the area of this region. And what is the area of this region? It is minus I naught RL minus V naught. This voltage is minus V naught, and this point is minus I naught into RL. So minus I naught into RL minus V naught multiplied by the duration for which this voltage occurs, which is nothing but Ts minus T on, will give you the area of this region. So this area will be equal to this area. Voltage, average voltage across one cycle in an inductor is equal to 0. That is what the principle says. So when you solve this equation, you will get this V naught by Vg as V naught by Vg equal to D into R divided by R plus D into Rs plus RL. What is this R? This R is the load resistance. R is the load resistance, and in the denominator we have three quantities: the load resistance plus the duty ratio multiplied by the source resistance plus the inductor resistance So V naught by Vg equal to D into this correction factor. So V naught by Vg equal to D into 1 divided by, I'm taking dividing this correction factor by R. So 1 divided by 1 plus D into Rs by R plus RL by R. This is V naught by Vg. So correction factor will be less than 1. Again, when you take into account the non-idealities in the source and the inductor, the efficiency or the forward voltage transfer ratio is less than the ideal transfer ratio, which was equal to the duty cycle of the converter. V naught by Vg was equal to D for an ideal converter, but when taking into account the non-idealities in the source and the non-idealities in the inductor, we have some this correction factor, and this V naught by Vg was not equal to D, which is less than the duty ratio D. The next one is the reverse current transfer ratio. I'm not deriving the reverse current transfer ratio because the source and the inductor non-idealities are series non-idealities. So reverse current transfer ratio is not affected because these are series non-idealities. The efficiency we can derive by multiplying V naught I naught divided by Vg into Ig. This Ig by I naught will be equal to T on by Ts, which will be equal to D. The reverse current transfer ratio doesn't get affected because all these are series non-idealities. So V naught by Vg we have just derived. The forward voltage transfer ratio. It is nothing but D into 1 divided by 1 plus D into Rs by R plus RL by R. So using this I naught by Ig and V naught by Vg, if we derive this efficiency, we can find it to be again equal to the correction factor. Efficiency is less than 1. D and D will get cancelled out. The efficiency is equal to the correction factor. So 1 by 1 plus D into Rs by R plus RL by R. So this is the efficiency of the converter taking into account the non-idealities in the source and the inductor. What is the non-ideality in the source? A source is found to have some resistance Rs. What is the non-ideality in the inductor? The inductor is not pure in nature. There will be some resistive component added along with the inductance. So that is, we called it as RL, and we have taken into account these source and the inductor non-idealities, and found out the efficiency is getting affected and it is less than 1. It is less than 1. Next non-ideality, I hope you are clear with these two non-idealities. As of now, we have seen 3 non-idealities. The first non-ideality is a non-ideality in the output current, del I naught by I naught. The second non-ideality is a non-ideality in the switches. There is some voltage drop in the switches. The third non-ideality is a non-ideality in the source and the inductor. These three non-idealities you have seen so far. And the last non-ideality is the non-ideality in the output voltage. Non-ideality in the output voltage. Before that, we will derive the efficiency, taking into account the switch, source, and the inductor drops. So the last non-ideality is the non-ideality in the output voltage, that we will come to it in a few minutes. Before that, we will combine the non-idealities in the switches, source, and inductors, and let us see what is the efficiency of the converter. So efficiency is V0 by Vg into I0 by Ig. In the denominator, you have the correction factor for the source and the inductor non-ideality. In the numerator, you have the correction factor for the switch non-ideality. So when you combine the correction factor for the switch non-ideality and the correction factor for the source and the inductor non-ideality, you have this efficiency value as 1 minus Vt by Vg minus 1 minus d into Vd by dVg, which is a correction factor for the switch non-ideality in the numerator, divided by 1 plus d into Rs by R plus RL by R in the denominator, which is the correction factor for the source and the inductor non-ideality. So this is the efficiency, and from this we can understand some guidelines for the good efficiency. Can anyone tell me how to make the efficiency of this DC to DC converter with switch, source, and inductor non-ideality to be close to unity? What are these guidelines? Can you tell me from the expression of this efficiency? Can you tell me the guidelines for making this efficiency close to unity? You have some components in the numerator and denominator. You have some components in the numerator and denominator. We need these components to be very low, such that our efficiency is close to unity. So what are the guidelines for good efficiency? The guidelines for good efficiency are, in the numerator, if you see, the transistor voltage drop should be less than the input voltage Vg. So this is the first guideline for achieving a better efficiency in the DC to DC converter. Your transistor voltage drop should be less than the input voltage Vg. The second guideline is your diode voltage drop should be less than the output voltage V0. Your diode voltage drop should be less than the output voltage V0. Your third guideline for achieving good efficiency is your source resistance should be less than the load resistance. Source resistance should be less than the load resistance R. And the fourth guideline for achieving a better efficiency in the DC to DC converter with these non-ideality is the inductor resistance should be less than the load resistance. So in short, we have combined the non-idealities in the switches and the non-idealities in the source and the inductor, and we have arrived at this efficiency of the inductor, efficiency of the DC-DC converter, and we have summed up some guidelines for good efficiency. And we have 4 guidelines. The transistor voltage drop, or the first switch voltage drop, should be less than the input voltage Vg. the diode voltage drop should be less than the output voltage V0, the second switch voltage drop, which is a passive switch. We are using a diode. So diode voltage drop should be less than the output voltage V0. The source resistance should be less than the load resistance. The inductor resistance should also be less than the load resistance R. So coming to the last non-ideality, it is a non-ideality in the output voltage. What is the first non-ideality? First non-ideality ennapa? Non-ideality in the output current. There was some ripple in the output current. The output current was not continuous constant as we assume for an ideal converter. That was the first non-ideality. The last non-ideality is the non-ideality in the output voltage. The output voltage, we assumed it to be continuous constant for an ideal converter, but it is not a continuous constant. There will be some ripples in the output voltage in the converter. So we will derive an expression for what amount of ripple is present in the output voltage that will constitute the non-ideality in the output voltage of the converter. So this is a last non-ideality in the output voltage. So let us take the same primitive voltage to current converter. The output voltage ripple is a function of the load. The amount of ripple that is present in the output voltage is directly proportional to the load that is connected. Load usually is a resistive load in a DC to DC converter. So we have already seen there were some ripples in the output current and we assumed it to be del I naught, and we even quantified del I naught to some expression constituting the duty ratio, the switching period, and the circuit time constant L by R. Now we are telling even the output V0 is not continuous constant. It is having some ripples del V0. And why this ripple del V0 comes? See, in parallel to the load, we are connecting a capacitor. Why this capacitor is connected? Capacitor is usually connected in parallel to this load R to support the energy storage requirements. If you see any DC to DC converter, in the load side, there will be a capacitor connected in parallel to the load. There will be a capacitor connected in parallel to the load, and it is because of this capacitor, the output voltage V0 is not continuous constant. There is some ripples in the output voltage V0. There is some ripples in the output voltage V0, and this ripple voltage del V0 is called as the non-ideality in the output voltage. Now we are going to quantify or derive an expression for del V0. So let us take the inductor current waveform. Let us take this inductor current waveform. You know how this inductor current waveform is. There are some ripples in the current. The current increases from 0 to T1 and the current decreases from T1 to Ts during the off period. And the ripple we call it as del I naught, and we derived the del I naught as V naught by L into 1 minus D into Ts. V naught by L into 1 minus D into Ts. And we even normalized this ripple current as del I naught by I naught, and we found out some expression. We will take this inductor waveform and we will find out what is the amount of ripple present in the output voltage V0. And this ripple in the output voltage is because of the charge that is present in this region, in the shaded region, because of the charge that is present in the shaded region. This is a charge that is causing the voltage drop, drop in the capacitor. So this inductor current you can divide into two components. One is the DC current and the other one is the high frequency current. High frequency current is given by the shaded region, and this is the average current I0. This is the average current I0, and this is the high frequency current. And the high frequency current flows through this capacitor, resulting in a ripple del V0, and this DC current flows through the load R. And this is the expression for the capacitor voltage that is causing the ripple. How did we arrive at this expression? What is the height of this triangle? height of this triangle is del I naught by 2. So what is del I naught? This is del I naught. The distance between this black solid line and the distance between this black solid line is del I naught. And I am finding out the area of this region. Area of this region. What is the expression for voltage? It is 1 by c integral I dt. 1 by c integral of I dt. 1 by c integral I dt is the area of this triangle. So if I want to find the area of the triangle, half into base into height, right? So what is this height of this triangle? Height of this triangle is nothing but del I naught by 2. Height of this triangle is del I naught by 2. This half will come in the area equation of the triangle. Half into base into height. The height is del I naught by 2. The half will come in the formula itself. What is this base? Base is Ts by 2. What is this base? Base is Ts. So from here to here it is Ts, and this region is Ts by 2. So half into base into height is half into base into height is the expression, and the voltage of the capacitor is nothing but 1 by c integral of I dt. I is the charge that is present in the inductor, and the charge gives rise to the voltage drop. Charge gives rise to the voltage drop. Del I naught by 2 is the height of the triangle. Ts by 2 is the width of the triangle, and 1 by c comes in the expression for inductor voltage, capacitor voltage. 1 by c integral of I dt is the capacitor voltage. And this del V naught flows through the capacitor. The high frequency component of the current flows through the capacitor, and the constant DC current flows through the load. This I naught flows through the load, and this del I naught flows through the capacitor. This I naught gives rise to V naught, and this del I naught, which is high frequency AC current. High frequency AC current. This is basically this is the charge here. This charge gives rise to the ripple in the output voltage. Gives rise to the ripple in the output voltage. Once again, I will repeat. This I naught flows through the load, gives rise to V naught, and this del I naught flows through the capacitor. High frequency current of the inductor flows through this capacitor, and this is giving rise to the ripple in the output voltage. This is giving rise to the ripple in the output voltage, and the amount of ripple that is present in the output voltage is del V naught. Del V naught is nothing but del I naught by 2 multiplied by 1 by 2 into Ts by 2 into 1 by c. Basically, this is the voltage of the capacitor. Integral 1 by c integral I dt. 1 by c integral I dt. So now we found out what is del I naught. Let us find out the inductor current and the output voltage. So del I naught is V naught by L into 1 minus D into Ts. Del V naught just we found out del I naught by 2 into 1 by 2 into Ts by 2 into 1 by C. So what is del V naught? Instead of this del I naught, del I naught, I will substitute this expression V naught by L into 1 minus D into Ts. Instead of this del I naught, I am substituting V naught by L into 1 minus D into Ts. So del V naught is equal to this instead of this I naught, I will substitute V naught by L into 1 minus D into Ts by 2, and this 1 by 2 remains as it is. This Ts by 2 remains as it is, and this 1 by C remains as it is. So when you solve this, V naught into 1 minus D into Ts will become Ts square. 2 into 2 into 2 will become 8 LC. So del V naught, the amount of ripple that is present in the output voltage, del V naught is equal to V naught into 1 minus D into Ts square divided by 8 LC. Usually we will not stop with this ripple content in the output voltage. We will use the normalized ripple value by dividing the output voltage V naught. So normalized ripple voltage present at the output is del V naught by V naught equal to 1 minus D into Ts square divided by 8 into LC. The V naught comes to the denominator. So what is the guideline for low output ripple? The switching period Ts should be less than the natural frequency 1 by root LC. The switching period should be less than the natural frequency 1 by root of LC. So this is the guideline for low ripple voltage. What is the guideline for low ripple current? What is the guideline for low ripple current? TS should be less than root of LC. That is what we derived while considering the ripple in the output current. Now for the ripple in the output voltage, it is the switching period should be less than the natural frequency. Switching period TS should be less than the natural frequency root of 1 by root of LC. So with this, we have considered all the non-idealities. With this, we have considered all the non-idealities and derived expression for forward voltage conversion ratio, reverse current conversion ratio, the ripple content in the current and the ripple current in the voltage. Hope all the non-idealities are clear. Just to sum it up, let us see how did we find out the steady state performance quantities? 5 performance quantities. The first performance quantity is V0 by Vg. It is also called as forward voltage conversion ratio. The second quantity is I0 by Ig. It is the reverse. The current gain is I0 by Ig, but the reverse current conversion ratio is Ig by I0. So this was the confusion we had in the last class. The current gain is I0 by Ig, but we are deriving the reverse current conversion ratio Ig by I0. So please make this alteration. Current gain is I0 by Ig. Reverse current conversion ratio is Ig by I0. And we have found out the current ripple del I0 by I0. We have found out the voltage ripple del V0 by V0, and we have considered the non-ideality in the switches, source, and the storage, and we have finally found out the efficiency of the converter with these non-idealities. So these 5 quantities: the voltage gain, the current ripple, the voltage ripple, non-idealities in switch storage, source and storage, efficiency. These 5 are called as the steady state performance parameters. Steady state performance parameters of this DC to DC converter. And how did we find out all these steady state parameters? We found out the inductor volt second balance to find out V0 by Vg. We used the current averaging method to find out Ig by I0. We used the inductor volt second balance in the sub period to find out del I0 by I0. We use the capacitor charge in the sub period to find out del V0 by V0, and we use the inductor volt second balance with non-ideality to find out the efficiency. So we have completely analyzed a primitive DC to DC converter from the ideal case and proceeding to the non-idealities and all the components present in the primitive converters. Hope you are clear with the flow of the lecture. The volt second balance, current averaging, ripple in the current, ripple in the voltage, and finally the efficiency. So we will spend few more minutes, 5 minutes, in understanding the configuration of buck boost and the buck boost converter, and then we will wind up the class. So we have considered this configuration. The inductor was present at the right hand side towards the load, and the source was present in the left hand side. Source was present in the left hand side. And the second possible configuration is inductor towards the source and the switches towards the load. And the third configuration is inductor to be at the center between the source and the load. Inductor to be at the center between the source and the load. The first configuration is called as a buck converter. The second configuration is called as the boost converter. And the third configuration is called as the buck boost converter. So this is how we arrive at the configuration of these 3 converters: buck converter, boost converter, and buck boost converter. So let us draw the circuit diagrams for this buck boost and buck boost converters. So the first inductor was present towards the load side, inductor present towards the load side, and this capacitor for supporting the load for energy requirements. So this circuit is called as the buck converter. The second circuit, inductor was present towards the source side. Inductor is present towards the source side, and this is called as the boost converter. And the third circuit, inductor was at the center between the load and the source. This is called as the buck boost converter, buck converter, boost converter, and buck boost converter. We have analyzed this voltage to current buck converter with the non-idealities, along with the non-idealities. In the forthcoming classes, we will take into account this boost converter and buck boost converter, and we will analyze the steady state parameters. V0 by Vg, I0 by Ig, del V0 by V0, del I0 by I0, and we will take into account the non-idealities and the efficiency of this boost and the buck boost converter. So, hope you are clear with all the concepts. If you have any doubts, you can post it in the chat, or else we will wind up the class. The flow புரிஞ்சுதா? இந்த சப்ஜெக்ட் ஃபுல்லாமே இப்படி தான் படிக்க போறோம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரிப்பிள் கான்டென்ட் இந்த கரண்ட் கண்டுபிடிக்க போறோம். நெக்ஸ்ட் ரிப்பிள் கரண்ட் இந்த வோல்டேஜ் கண்டுபிடிக்க போறோம். Next we will find out what is the forward voltage conversion ratio. Afterwards we will go for the reverse current transfer ratio, and using that we will find out the efficiency. The whole syllabus, the whole course content will be studied like this. Is it clear? புரிஞ்சுதாப்பா? You have any doubts, you let me know. Answer your attendance number 1. Ajay Kumar. Ajay Kumar இருக்கியாப்பா? Ajay Kumar absent. Ajit Khanna is not there.
Sir, comment box சொல்றாங்க.
என்னவா? Ajay Kumar C இருக்கானா? Okay. Ajay Kumar present. Ajit Khanna இருக்கானா? Ajit Khanna absent. அடுத்து நம்பர் 3 யாரு? அனுஷா. Number 3, are you there?
Comment box.
Okay, Anusha irukka. Okay, number 4, Ashwin.
இல்ல sir, absent.
Ashwin absent. Number 2 absent. Number 4 absent. 5
absent sir.
5 Balaji absent.
Absent sir.
Okay, Balaji absent. Number 6 Balasubramanian.
Absent sir.
Balasubramanian varalai. Okay. Number 7 Devendran.
Absent sir.
Devendran absent. Number 8 Devedarshana.
Present, sir.
Okay. Number 9 Davida Silvan.
Sir, present sir.
Okay. Number 10 Dinesh Kumar.
Absent sir.
Dinesh Kumar absent. 11 Gokul.
Present sir.
Okay. Number 13 Harinarayan.
Sir, present.
Okay. 14 Harini.
Present, sir.
15 Jitendra. Jitendra கிளாஸுக்கு வர்றான், இருக்கானா இல்லையானே தெரியுது இல்ல, சாட்டும் யூஸ் பண்றது இல்ல, அன்மியூட் பண்ணியும் ஆன்சர் பண்றது இல்ல, ஆனா ஆன்லைன்ல மட்டும் இருக்கான். எங்க இருக்கான்னு தெரியல. ஜிதேந்திரா இருக்கியாப்பா? ஜிதேந்திரா ஆப்சன்ட். Number 16 Kamali.
Present, sir.
Okay. 17 Karthik. கார்த்திக் காணோம், இடையில வர்றது அப்படியே போயிடுறது பாதியில, அப்புறம் கேட்டா பிரசன்ட்ங்கிறது வாட்ஸ்அப்ல. கார்த்திக் ஐ மார்க்கிங் ஆப்சன்ட். 17 18 Kishore Kumar.
So present, sir.
Okay. 19. Madhumita. Madhumita, are you there? Okay, 19%. 20.
Present, sir.
21. Tariq.
Present,
Okay.
sir.
23.
Present, sir.
Okay, 23. 24. 24. Naveen Kumar, yes. Naveen Kumar, yes, sir. Naveen Kumar D. inge. Okay, 25. Okay. 26. Niveda.
Present,
Okay,
sir.
27.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
28.
Present, sir.
29. 29 yaar. 29 absent. 30. 30 also absent. 31. Rahul. Okay, 31%. 32.
Present, sir.
33.
Yes, sir.
34. Who is 34? 34 absent. 35.
Present, sir.
36.
Sir.
36 here.
Present, sir.
Okay, 37.
Present, sir.
38.
Present, sir.
39. Okay, 39%. 40.
Present, sir.
41. 41 absent. 42 present. 301. Saravana. இங்க சரவணா வந்த ஆளை காணும். Saravana, you get an official email ID. You contact Shibu sir, get an official email ID. Ajay Kumar also you get an official email ID. Shibu sir phone பண்ணி create பண்ணி கொடுக்க சொல்லுங்க. பர்சனல் இமெயில் ஐடியில் லாகின் பண்ணக்கூடாது கிளாஸ். சரவணா வந்த ஆளை காணும். 301 absent. So many absentees today. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 17, 29, 30, 34, 41 and 301. So I hope today's lecture is clear. You have completed the first paragraph of our syllabus. Let me go to the syllabus now. 2 minutes, we'll wind up the class in 2 minutes. We'll go to the syllabus and we'll see. So this is our syllabus. I hope we have discussed on all the topics in the first paragraph. The reactive elements in power systems is discussed. Design of inductor is discussed. Design of transformers we have discussed. Capacitor for power electronics applications we have discussed. Basic concepts of switch mode power converters we have discussed. primitive DC to DC converter we have discussed. The operating principle of primitive DC to DC converter also is done, and the exact and approximate analysis. Everything has been discussed. So this will be the syllabus for your first internals. So we have covered almost all the concepts in the first paragraph of your syllabus. Next class we will go to the non-isolated DC-DC power converters. We will analyze in detail the buck boost and buck boost, other types of converters, and we will end up the second paragraph with the isolated DC-DC power converters. So basically, the next lectures will deal with the non-isolated and isolated DC-DC power converters. Hope today's lecture is clear. There is no doubt, so we will wind up the class. The doubt இருந்தா கேளுங்கப்பா. என்ன பிரீத்தி புரிஞ்சுதா கிளாஸ் எடுத்தது? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
நான் இன்னைக்கு என்னென்ன பண்ண சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம். You consolidate, tell me.
இன்னைக்கு டாபிக்ல இருந்தோம் சார்.
இன்னைக்கு மட்டும் என்ன பார்த்தோம்னு சொல்லுங்க. We will wind up.
ஓகே. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நான் ஐடியாலிட்டி இன் ஸ்விட்சஸ் பார்த்தோம் சார்.
ஓகே.
இதுக்கு முன்னாடி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஐடியாலிட்டி பார்த்தோம். இப்போ வந்து நான் ஐடியாலிட்டி பார்த்தோம். நான் ஐடியாலிட்டினா நம்ம அதுல ஸ்விட்சிங் கன்வர்ஷன் ரேஷியோ நம்ம கன்சிடர் பண்ணுவோம் சார்.
ஓகே.
தென் அதில் வந்து கண்டக்ஷன் ட்ராப் வோல்டேஜ் செகண்ட் பேலன்ஸ் வச்சு அந்த V0/Vg ரேஷியோ கண்டுபிடிச்சோம் சார்.
ஓகே.
ஸோ ஐடியாலிட்டிக்கு நான் ஐடியாலிட்டியில் நமக்கு ஒரு கரெக்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர் வரும் சார். ஸோ அதனால வோல்டேஜ் வந்து நமக்கு ஐடியாலை விட நான் ஐடியாவில் டிக்ரீஸ் ஆகும் சார்.
வெரி குட்.
தென் சீரீஸ் நான் ஐடியாலிட்டியில் வந்து கரண்ட் கன்வர்ஷன் ரேஷியோ வந்து சேஞ்ச் ஆகாது சார். இன் சீரீஸ் நான் ஐடியாலிட்டியில் அந்த ஐஜி வந்து டியூட்டி சைக்கிள்ல மெயின்டைன் ஆகும்.
ஓகே.
அதோட எஃபிஷியன்சி V0/Vg டிவைட் பை I0/Ig வந்துச்சுன்னா நம்ம கரெக்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர் வரும் சார். ஸோ எஃபிஷியன்சி வந்து கரெக்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர் ஷுட் ஆல்வேஸ் பி லெஸ் தென் 1.
ஓகே.
தென் நான் ஐடியாலிட்டி இன் சோர்ஸ் அண்ட் இண்டக்டர்ல பார்க்குறோம் சார்.
ஓகே.
அதுல வந்து சோர்ஸ் ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் அண்ட் இண்டக்டர் ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் கன்சிடர் பண்ணுவோம் சார்.
ஓகே.
அந்த இதுல வந்து நம்ம வோல்டேஜ் செகண்ட் போட்டோம்னா நமக்கு V0/Vg is equal to D into அந்த சோர்ஸ் ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் அண்ட் லோட் ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் அண்ட் இண்டக்டர் ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் வச்சு நமக்கு ஒரு கரெக்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர் வரும் சார்.
ஓகே. வெரி குட்.
ஸோ இதுவும் சீரீஸ் நான் ஐடியாலிட்டிஸ்னால கரண்ட் ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ரேஷியோ நாட் அஃபெக்டட் சார்.
வெரி குட்.
Ig/I0 வந்து டியூட்டி சைக்கிள்ல மெயின்டைன் ஆகும். தென் எஃபிஷியன்சி இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு V0/Vg இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு I0/Ig இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு கரெக்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர் வரும் சார். இதில்
ஓகே. ஓகே.
it's also always less than 1 and efficiency இப்போ செப்பரேட்டாக பண்ணது எஃபிஷியன்சி வித் ஸ்விட்ச் சோர்ஸ் அண்ட் இண்டக்டர் ட்ராப் மூணுத்தையும் வச்சு கால்குலேட் பண்ணுறப்போ ரெண்டுத்தோட கரெக்ஷன் ஃபேக்டரும் நமக்கு ரேஷியோவில் கிடைக்கும் சார்.
வெரி குட்.
அதில் நமக்கு குட் எஃபிஷியன்சி வேணும்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கண்டிஷன் V2 should be less than Vg.
ஓகே. அந்த கண்டிஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தோம். கடைசியா என்ன பார்த்தோம்?
கடைசியாக நான் ரிப்பிள் இன் அவுட்புட் வோல்டேஜ் நம்ம கால்குலேட் பண்ணுவோம் சார்.
அதை எப்படி கால்குலேட் பண்ணுவோம்?
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லோட் பதிலாக நம்ம வந்து கெப்பாசிட்டர் அண்ட் ரெசிஸ்டரை வந்து பேரலாக கனெக்ட் பண்ணுவோம் சார். அங்கே
load கூட நார்மலாவே capacitor will be connected in parallel. Why? Because to support the energy storage requirement.
ஓகே சார்.
ஓகே. சரி, சொல்லுங்க எப்படி கால்குலேட் பண்ணீங்க?
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதுல வந்து ரிப்பிள் அதோட கரண்ட் கிராஃப் வேல்யூ போடணும் சார். I0 அண்ட் டெல் I0 டிரா பண்ணணும் சார்.
ஓகே.
தென் அதுல டெல் I0ஓட வேல்யூ ரிப்பிள் கரண்டோட வேல்யூ கரண்ட்டோ அண்ட் ரிப்பிள் வோல்டேஜோட வேல்யூஸ் நம்ம ஃபைண்ட் அவுட் பண்ணணும் சார்.
How did you find out the ripple voltage from the ripple current? Ripple voltage is arriving because of the capacitor, and the capacitor voltage formula is 1/C integration of I dt. So basically you integrated the inductor current to find out the capacitor voltage. That's the concept. சரியா?
Okay sir.
Okay, then we found out the ratio V0/Vg.
Del V0/V0.
Del V0/V0. Okay. Okay. சொல்லுங்க.
தென் இதுல வந்து TS ஸ்விட்சிங் பீரியட் வந்து இன்வெர்ஸ்லி ப்ரொபோர்ஷனல் டு ஸ்கொயர் ரூட் ஆஃப் LC. 1/√of LCன்றது நேச்சுரல் ஃப்ரீக்வென்சி.
ஓகே.
சோ
பக் கன்வெர்ட்டருக்கு இண்டக்டர் எங்க இருக்கும்? பக் கன்வெர்ட்டருக்கு towards the
load.
load. Boost converter க்கு inductor எங்க இருக்கும்?
Boost towards the source.
Source. Buck boost க்கு inductor எங்க இருக்கும்? Centerல?
Centerல இருக்கும்.
Okay, very good ma. Okay, with this we'll wind up the class. So next session we will discuss. Is that doubt இருக்கா?
சார் ஹலோ
சொல்லுங்க.
சார் அஸ்வின் சார் நான் பிரசன்ட் தான் சார், நடுவில் கால் வந்துருச்சு சார், அதனால தான் வெளியே போயிடுச்சு.
அதெல்லாம் எனக்கு தெரியாது. ஃபுல் கிளாஸ் அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணாதான் பிரசன்ட் பண்ணுவேன். நடுவுல கால் வந்தது அதெல்லாம் எனக்கு தெரியாது. ஃபுல் கிளாஸ்
இல்ல சார், கால் கட் பண்ணிட்டு வரதுக்குள்ள இதாயிடுச்சு சார்.
நோ எக்ஸ்கியூசஸ். இப்ப நிறைய பேர் பாதியில வர்றீங்க, பாதியில போயிடுறீங்க, இருக்கிறீங்களா இல்லையான்னு எனக்கு தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது. அட்டெண்டன்ஸ் எடுக்கும் போது பிரசன்ட் சொன்னா பிரசன்ட், இல்லாட்டி ஆப்சன்ட் தான்.
ஓகே சார், தேங்க்ஸ்.
So I am winding up the class. Next session we will see about other converters. Thank you students.